Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, we talk about a new way to type on your smartphone and tablet, a way for your kids to make their bed. It just takes a zip, and a watch that is hot. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, it is time for another episode of the KickCast, and of course we can't have a KickCast without the one, the only, the man who makes beautiful babies, Drew
That's
Tyler.
me.
How are you doing, Drew?
So good, so good. I'm glad you threw that in there because really that's all I'm good for. Yes, glad to be here.
Oh, you are good for many, many things, Drew. I wouldn't have learned half the things I know how to do now if it wasn't for you.
You wouldn't have gotten in half the trouble you've gotten in if it weren't for me.
That's a good point, too. So if you guys have never seen the KickCast before, this is the show for crowdfunding projects. What Drew and I love to do is go out, find really, really cool crowdfunding projects and feature them on the show. We got 3 excellent projects out there. But first, before we go in there, we want to kind of give you a little news in the world of crowdfunding.
Yep.
And our first set of news is actually, we covered it 2 episodes ago, and it is actually about the Canada Kickstarter, or Kickstarter actually opening up in Canada. And they're actually finally taking applications for projects now. And they're giving you a month to kind of get your project ready because they won't start launching projects until September. And so you have 1 month to kind of get all the stuff ready. And that's pretty much it. It's, to be honest with you, it's pretty straightforward. The fees are very similar to what it is in the US. You got the same rules and everything. You might wonder, well, if the project's in Canada, can I back it or not? Of course you can back it. It's just going to list all the goals in Canadian dollars, but when you actually go in to do the backing, it will kind of give you an estimate on it because the exchange rate changes.
That's my question. Is one, what do you think was like holding it up so that Canada couldn't partake yet? And then the other question is, what's the big difference? I've seen a few projects coming out of Canada. Is it just that they're not just Canadian money? I mean, what is that?
So what happens is, so far, if you have a project out of the country that you want to do here, and it's not one of the Kickstarter supported companies, what you have to do is you have to have a physical location or a business that's actually in the US or in the UK, and then you can do it there. Because I've seen a lot of East Asian companies just go set up in the UK because they have really good relations over there. And then they'll set it up there and they'll say they're based there, even though all the manufacturing is done overseas. And that's kind of fine with a Kickstarter on there. And then you just do everything normal. So it's good. I like how we're going to get a new infusion of different people who are like wanting to jump into this crowdfunding things. And I hope they listen to this show and listen to some of the things we gripe about all the time.
We could teach them a thing or two. And then what do you think? Do they have plans to push past the country of Canada into some others more quickly now?
Well, I don't know if more quickly or not, because I'm probably what held them up mostly is just regulatory things. Finding a bank broker or somebody that they can work with. And I don't know if they're doing this one in-house or not, because in the US they use Amazon Payments, and in the UK I think they use a local broker over there, but it has some weird thing to do with the site integration. So I'm having a feeling that's why it took them a month, was they wanted to get the code all ready and hopefully make sure the servers are all scaled and whatnot, because you know what happens on day one when things launch. Don't want to crash your site, especially considering you have all these other projects that are going on. So they're all ready to go on there. So in a month, we will see some more Canadian projects, and I'm excited.
Excellent.
Maybe they'll do like books that have A in it all the time. I don't know.
It'll be books about the letter A, or books that are about saying sorry. A. I got nothing. I just threw in everything I do for cliches. I'm not a Canadiist.
I don't know. Let's hope so. I think it'd be exciting. Always good to have fresh new blood. And that's pretty much all the news we actually have. So we decided to kind of go back and check some of our projects from last episode. So we have the Tree Schoolers. They're funded, and they're almost double what they wanted to raise.
Yeah, they did really well. They're up to $97,700. They got a stretch goal, which they've still got. What is left on the? Down. They had a couple. I think they still had a week left. and $3,000, and they hit a stretch goal, which adds an entire new episode. So the first push was for episodes 1, 2, and 3, and with this extra push, they'll get a fourth episode. So that'll be really cool.
Yep, I'm excited for it. And then the Nubrella, they have about 7 days ago yet left, but they only have 50% of the way there. So look, that one, if you had put it as a track, this is a good time to back it so they can get that final push to get over that
Pretty
hump.
big push, but yeah.
Yeah. And then Bacon playing cards, they are about 80%, and they need about $4,000 to go. I've backed this project personally, so
you got some skin in the game.
Yeah, and like I didn't realize this, but one of the backing levels, and it's the one that I got, gives you a 3-month membership to get bacon treats. So every month for 3 months, this guy's gonna send you different bacon treats to you, and I'm like, yeah.
And now, how close were they? They only have 4 days left, but they were.
They have they have about $4,000 to go, which is pretty doable.
Right. They're way up there already.
And I'm really hoping that you get all those last minute stragglers, because I know a lot of people will hit that star and say, remind me within 48 hours of the project ending, and hopefully we can get more. They actually even added more. They have gold. There's actually a level where you can get gold flecked bacon on there. It's like it has gold specks over it, and you can eat it. I don't think. Yeah, personally, me eating gold doesn't seem like a good ROI, but hey,
I would be. I'm not even gonna go there.
I'd be scraping it off and seeing how much I can sell it for this.
Before you eat it, don't go scraping after you eat it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go find that gold.
Seems a lot easier before.
Let's dive in.
All right, so let's kind of go into our projects. Our first project is not that blank. Lower third is the True Grip. So this is a
TREW.
Yeah, so this is actually a really interesting thing. It's a keyboard. So all of us have smartphones, iPads, and everything. And the one thing we've discovered, it sucks typing on all these devices. There's swipe, and you kind of get used to thumb typing and stuff, but it doesn't beat having a good old-fashioned keyboard. I mean, I even have a keyboard for my iPad because I can't stand typing on the glass screen. I need tactile feedback on there. So the True Grip decided to kind of take this in a different way on there, because it's a QWERTY keyboard, but it's the keys are actually on the back of the device instead of on the front. So you're like going, what? How am I going to see the keys? And what happens is, so you hold it up, and then on the front there are actually little displays that will light up and show you what key you're actually pressing at that time, so you can actually start learning. And what's super interesting about this is, if you see in the video right now, the keys kind of go vertically on there. And what they actually did in these keyboards is they pretty much took your normal QWERTY keyboard, so your ASDF that you normally have, your home row keys, and then instead of having it going horizontal, they rotated the entire thing, so it's almost like you're holding it, so it fits into your hand. So like if you're holding it sideways, you're holding the keys vertical, and it's still ASDF, so you can type almost normally on there.
Still there. That was strange to me, but I guess it makes sense. If you're holding something this way,
so you can kind of keep going on that. And I think it's a smart thing to do, because for my keyboard, I have to use a flat surface. Typing on my lap's okay, but it just doesn't feel right. I have to have a flat surface. For this, it seems a good ergonomic, because you're holding onto it, and then you can kind of type, but who knows? It might be a little hard to get used to, or you might accidentally drop it, but I think they've designed it in a way where it's pretty hard to drop when you have a grip like that.
Yes, I think you can hold on to it. It looked like they have quite a learning curve on this. It's about 7 or 8 hours with it before you can get back up to the normal typing speed that you normally type at. Seems to be an awful long, pretty steep learning curve.
Yeah.
But I could see a little benefit to having the ability to hold something in front of you and have your small device, with a mini pad or an iPhone, and still have, if you were fast enough, I could see some benefit to be able to hold something like that and type full.
And then some of the specs is Bluetooth 3.0, which is kind of weird. I think they'd use Bluetooth 4.0, but the more I talk to people and ask them about the difference between 4.0 and 3.0, some devices don't really benefit from going to 4.0, and it just raises costs. So this might be one of them, but I'm not an expert in Bluetooth modules.
That would make sense. Yeah, if you're only sending like like this would be like binary data. It's very simple, whatever you call it, like letters, as opposed to like sound waves or other Bluetoothy things. I'm guessing here. I'm guessing.
Yeah. So it has a normal range, about 30 feet or so, but in reality, it's going to be like 15 if you have stuff in the way.
But it's designed to like have the phone or the
Yeah,
thing
it's
sitting
with
right
you.
there.
So like why would you really have it farther
You're
away
typing,
than that?
yeah.
It's
If unless I don't know,
I
maybe
I think it's one of those check mark things. Oh, we got to list the distance on it, even though
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't make sense. 10-hour battery life, which is good, since I know most tablets won't. Well, I know my iPad will last about 10 hours anyway. So if I gotta go charge the iPad, might as well charge the keyboard while at it. Uses micro USB, which is a gift and a curse because everything you charge is micro USB. But I just don't like how flimsy micro USB is. But that's a whole different topic on there.
What are you gonna?
So and can support up to phones or tablets or phablets or what? I don't know. The line is blurring between all of those these days. Up to 7 inches. And,
Giblets.
yeah, and it's about 1 pound 5 ounces. So it's not that heavy on there. Adds some weight though. So if you don't like having extra weight, this might not be the thing for you on there.
I think that's where I'm at. If I get my thoughts on it, I think that they have some pretty specific use cases in their video, and they show how it will be helpful if you can't take a full laptop, or if you need to concentrate and talk to somebody instead of voice dictation. So they have some pretty specific use cases. But for myself, it'd be hard to learn to type this, even if I gave it the 8 hours to figure out. Okay, I can program my hands to go from here to here, but as sexy as it is, because it looks very sexy. It looks like a gaming control system. It's kind of fun. This is a track for me. I don't know that I'm not one of their use cases. I feel like I'm fast enough with my double thumbs on texting and taking notes, and I'm okay. And in my cases, wherever I'm sitting down to do larger stuff with the iPad, I have a keyboard that Bluetooths, and it's on a table. I don't really have any of those need to wander around or be upright, but
Yeah.
that's my take.
So yeah, of course, here at the KickCast, we have a backtrack or sack. So you're saying track on this?
I'm a tracker or sack. I mean, for me, it doesn't fit for me, but I like how sexy it is, and I really like the T-shirt option that says "Don't be a pecker." I do like that.
Yeah,
so maybe that's what I.
Yeah, that's true. For me, it's a track too because one, I am really, really picky for my input devices. Like right here, I have a mechanical keyboard that's actually sitting in front of me right now that I love. So I'm really kind of picky on it. So I'd have to. I'm the type of person who have to try it, but I don't see myself as the use case for this because I have a phone, I have an iPad. As much as I'd like to say that iPad is for business purposes, it's mainly me playing Simpsons tapped out on it, or or doing reviews for Ktdata.net on games most of the time. So I'm not the person they're looking for. They actually had good use cases for say doctors and nurses and healthcare people who, you know,
On the go.
they want to be on the go and they have to use things like that. So that kind of makes a little bit more sense for me. And the only other issue I have is an issue I actually have with my tablet is I hate holding it for long periods of time because my arms are weak and feeble and they get tired quickly.
Yeah. So who doesn't?
Yeah. So that is for the True Grip.
True like Drew, you.
Yeah. And so for our next project is actually another Utah project. I can't say enough. It's probably the most random thing ever, but I love seeing Salt Lake projects on there. So this is actually a couple from Utah, and it's called the Stay Made. So this is actually Drew kind of explain to people what the Stay Made is.
I'll give you a rundown. Stay Made. This is, as they call it, the world's most innovative children's bedding, and it is a bed that stays made. So this couple had just a normal problem, which a lot of parents have, and that is getting your kids to make your bed, and making the bed for the kids. Even when they would, kids are out of school or they've gone for the day, they mentioned that it's not the easiest thing to climb up on the top bunk and tuck sheets again and pull things back up. My girls kick off their sheets all night long, and that was the other problem that these guys had. The sheets get kicked off, and then they're sleeping in the cold because the sheets all pop down to the bottom of the bed. So here's what the Stay Made is. And again, this one I watched and I was like, how come nobody's done this before? They went and applied kind of the sleeping bag ish effect to the bed. You have a base that you that's just like a fitted sheet, fits all the way around the mattress, but it has two sets of zippers up the side, one for a sheet and one for the top, like comforter or duvet. Or, I don't know. I don't think you give kids duvets. That's crazy. So it has a comforter, but they're fitted so nicely that your kids climb in, they sleep through the night. It's zipped down to the sides if you want it to be, or if they want to get a little restless, you can unzip it for the night. But in the morning, how easy is it for a kid to just grab that zipper wherever it is, pop it up to the top, then grab the comforter zipper, pop it to the top. The way they've designed it is crisp, it's clean, it looks great. And as they point out, I'll second this as a parent. If the bed is made, it doesn't matter how many toys are on the floor, the room still looks pretty clean. It's the combo of having an unmade bed and toys on the floor that's an unclean room. But if my girls, I say one day out of the week they'll make their beds and surprise me, even though I request it all the time. So the Stay Made, they're looking for $30,000 and they're going to try and solve this problem. For me, it's a real world problem, and I absolutely love their design process and the materials. There's so many good things about this. I'm excited. I didn't realize it was a Utah company until after we'd started looking at it.
Yeah, and the the one thing I'm wondering is how come they don't make an adult version on this? Okay, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not the most
You don't make
cognate
your
person.
bed.
Well, it's not even that. It's like I'm not really cognate in the morning. So sometimes I'm just like on automatic, and I've found myself where sometimes I'll just forget because I'm like, oh, I'll do that in 1 second. Or other times, I'll do it and I'll look at them like, why did I even attempt to make this bed? This looks barely any different.
And I get in trouble for making a bed. Early in my marriage, I would like just throw up the sheets and then really make the comforter look nice on top. But as soon as we climb in bed at night, my wife would be like, "Oh, you didn't make the bed." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's all at the top," but it'd be all wrinkled and stuff. So this would be awesome to just zip it up and be like sharp and done. Plus, you know what would be great? She would not be able to steal the covers.
That's
Because if
true.
I
You'll
if I
just,
zipped up,
stand your ground. Zip
yeah,
up on your side. What's she gonna do about it?
that's great. The other thing I'll mention, I throw in this, they have and I believe it's one of the levels, but they talk about what they call the pea pod, and it's a zip in, like like they call it like a big pillowcase that's waterproof on both sides, top and bottom. So if you have a kid sleeping in a bed, but maybe the potty train or maybe the night training is still going on, throw them in the pea pod. Any accident, zip out the pea pod and wash it while you put in a normal sheet or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm on this one. This one is a definite back for me.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for this kid. They had to mention in that video. They mentioned their kids, and like I forgot what his name is, but I feel
Yeah.
like if you want to hide that video when you grow up, I totally understand, man.
He's gonna be like 15 years from now. He's gonna be in middle school, and somebody's gonna bring that to an assembly and be like, "Ha ha! This guy peed the bed." And it's sad, but they're villainous people out there. Poor
Yeah.
kid.
And I love how modular it is, where you can
Yeah,
kind of switch things out. So for me, it
love the
it's
colors.
it,
The stuff.
it's actually a back too, and I don't even have kids or anything, but I love this idea and I think it's great. And
Kids are great.
are you sure?
Kids are great. You can borrow mine for a day or two because I need a break.
Are you sure? It's like um but that's another, I guess that's another area of debate on you guys. So that is definitely a back for me. So we got two backs on there.
Back. We could start the KidCast. How and why to have
Oh,
how
oh.
and why to have kids. That's horrible. Moving on.
All right. So for the next one, if you guys remember way back, I think it was even a beta episode. It wasn't even a full on episode of the KickCast. We talked about the Pebble Watch, which I'm still wearing right here on here, and smartwatches. So after that, we've seen lots and lots of smartwatches out there, a lot of competitors and stuff. And I try not to cover a lot of them because really they're not that much different. This one caught my eye though. This is the Hot Watch, and it is it's a normal smartwatch. It has all those functions. You can control your music. You got notifications. You can make phone calls and stuff. But it actually has a unique private calling mode, and it also has gestures. Yeah, you heard me right, gestures. So You can move your hand, or you can just do on-screen gestures. So let me kind of break down the different things on here. So the private calling mode is actually pretty unique. On the wristband of the actual watch, there's a directional speaker right there that when you cup your hand, that becomes your phone receiver. And since you're right here, you can see your watch band is almost right, same mouth level. There's a microphone right on the end of the band. So this is what you're doing. You know, this kind of reminds me of the Dick Tracy
Yeah,
watches or
exactly.
like Jetsons where they're like, hello.
Or FBI styles. Yep.
Yeah, so that is actually pretty cool. And apparently, when you do it like that, people around you can't hear it because of the speaker being so directional. So you just have it cupped up to your ear. There's also actually another speaker mode on there. So I guess they have another speaker, or it's the same speaker, where you just hold it out and it will just broadcast out, and you can use a speakerphone right there. So that's kind of cool. One of the other differences from the Pebble, I know they don't want me to mention Pebble because it's like their biggest competitor, but you got to have a baseline somewhere, is it's actually a full touch screen display. So you can actually do gestures. So I think you can do like a U letter and stuff. It will take you right to the call menu and other things. And it has a couple even hotkey shortcut buttons where you can press it that are fully programmable that will take you straight to maybe the stopwatch or your alarms and everything on there. So, and then you can do movement gestures. So I think if you wanted to make a call, you put your hand up like this, it will take you right to the phone dialer screen, and you can dial your phone from there and make your call. There's also other ones that I don't remember how to do, but
Yeah,
those
there's
different.
a couple of the end call, wave goodbye during a conversation, ends the call, dial your favorite number, knock twice, turn on the backlight, twist your hand to a read position. I mean, these are some pretty cool
Yeah,
gestures.
I don't know how often I'd use the gestures, but I think that it's kind of really cool idea. This, like, honestly, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh wow, this is possibly the Pebble 2.0 right here. But then I kind of there's actually they've thought of everything. There's actually a version of a watch that you can get has an LED flashlight built in. You
That
know,
is
no
Dick
no,
Tracy.
like because that's what people use their phones now in the dark is to kind of see anything. Well, you don't. Their whole idea of this is not to pull out your phone. Leave it in your pocket, and then you can do everything from this watch right here. So they actually have a flashlight on one of the versions, so you don't have to use the camera or the screen to kind of look for things in the dark on there. This one uses Bluetooth 4.0. It's a 1.26 inch e-paper display, so similar display in what you find in the Pebble, which is good. It's a 3-day standby time, so it's going to take about 3 days, and then it charges within 30 to 40 minutes, and it uses a proprietary charger. But if you actually look at the page, they actually compare it to the thickness of a iPhone 5, and it's about the same thickness. So it's pretty thin, and that's actually, let me do some quick on that's. I think it's about on par to the Pebble, or maybe a little thinner actually on there. So the first time I saw it, I'm like, yeah, this could be the Pebble 2.0 that I've been waiting for. You know, I like my Pebble. I love seeing updates and stuff for it, but you know, being a geek, I'm always looking for more. And it's
What was their cost on the Pebble? Like what went it?
so the prices are actually comparable. These actually the Kickstarter prices are comparable.
Okay,
I think I paid about around what they're asking for these prepaid levels, but I think they're about $50 more
in
than
retail.
what you can get up a Pebble for retail right now. But that makes sense because they got a touch screen and everything on there. A little couple
Yeah.
more functions that you won't find on the Pebble. But the more I looked into it, the more I kind of I at first I'm like, oh, this is a back right here. But the more I kind of learned about it, I have to say it's a track, and the reasons are, first of all, is if you look through their page, everything kind of looks all polished and whatnot. But if you look, there's actually disclaimers on all these pictures
Right,
saying that
prototype.
they are prototypes only, so things can change on there. And I'm kind of not a fan of their designs, anyways. On there,
Nothing's
they're
grabbing you.
yeah. The one thing that grabbed me about the Pebbles, like, ooh, that's pretty on there, and like these aren't like ugly. They're just not really anything that I really want to wear that often, to be honest with you. Um, on there, so and then the second part is the battery life. I when I backed the Pebble, I was like, okay, I'll have to charge it. No big deal. on there until I actually, in practice, I get about 5 days off my Pebble right now. And after those 5 days, I'm like, oh, I gotta remember to plug this in. This being only 3 days on standby time, so in reality, maybe I'll get a day and a half, because I do get a lot of notifications on mine. That's going to, I'm going to have to remember to plug it in almost every night to make sure it lasts 3 days. Because the thing that even sucks more that I've learned after wearing this Pebble is it's awesome when it's powered, and then you forget to charge it one day, and then midway through your day, you look down, oh crap, the screen's blank, I'm like, oh, it's not charged. And then you hear your phone buzz, and then you wait for it. Oh crap, my watch is dead. Now I gotta go pick up my phone. It sounds like it's the most stupid thing, but you get so used to being able to quickly look at stuff on your watch when you actually don't have it. Like, man, this sucks. How did I survive before this? I don't understand. On there, so that's actually, and then with that in its proprietary charger, that's another thing about my Pebble is, like, it uses a proprietary charger, so that's another extra cable I got to carry around with me. I'm already carrying around HDMI cord, 3 different dongles for my MacBook, 2 different iPod sync cables, one for my iPhone 5 and one for my iPod Touch. So adding another cable into that is not something I really want to do.
The key master, cable master
on there. But so those are kind of the annoying things, but it still has its bonuses where the touchscreen's good. The cool private calling thing is, I think, it's awesome idea on there. And them having a full SDK and their production schedule is a good thing, because it should be out by December, which may be a good or a bad thing, because they're already double their goal. So if they get a lot of people, they're going to run into the same problem as Pebble, is being able to scale it really quickly.
Right, because they're already way over that.
So, and that's kind of what pushed me towards the track on here. But if you don't have a Pebble already and you kind of want to experiment with a smartwatch, I would say this will give Pebble a run for its money on there. So I don't know. What do you kind of think about it, Drew?
For me, and I think it's probably because I'm not a watch guy. I don't know. For me, it's a track, but it's like a long distance. I want to see how it come out and live for a little while. So for me, as much as I like to think I'm an early adopter on this one, I don't know that I have a need for it. I'm not a fan of the watch. I really like cool phone cases. It's my wallet and my phone case, and so I know I like the idea. Maybe I'll need to borrow your Pebble sometime just to see how I like the idea of being connected on my wrist as opposed to my pocket. Anyway, for me, it's a long distance track.
Yeah, I don't know. You might just upgrade straight to Google Glass on there.
Right.
It's like, I'm not gonna. Don't need anything in my wrist. I need it in my periphery.
Yeah, I want it there. And you know what? Honestly, that might be the difference. I'm just not a watch guy. I've tried to wear watches, and they never stick. They last for a week or two, and it's just I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and then actually, Drew, that's actually all the projects we kind of had, and the funny thing is, this was a tough episode to prepare for, because in our show notes, there's probably a good 10 to 15 projects that didn't make it that are KickCast cuts, and I had a hard time picking some of these.
A lot of good ones.
Yeah, I mean, some honorable mentions on there is there's a Cosplay in America book that was actually recommended to us from Bill Duran, the space prop gun guy. That one looks cool.
You appreciate good cosplay. It did. I mean, it looks like she's going to travel a bunch of different cities taking the professional and there's some amazing cosplay stuff out there. So I like that one.
Yeah, there's lead pants for pregnant people, which is interesting.
As interesting as that is, I'm not sure.
Oddly enough, that's not the most odd project we had on the list. I mean, we had one that made adult bibs that didn't quite make it on there, and they went the distance by putting like a tie picture on the bib and stuff, so when you're in the car, people think you're actually wearing a real shirt.
Wow.
On there, so yeah. Make sure you guys keep an eye on.
What is that one called? Is it Pocket Pinafores?
It's on Pocket Pinafores. It's pretty much a bib.
Look that up.
Yeah, so make sure you guys keep an eye out on our Facebook page and our Google Plus page and our Twitter. I'll put them up as a KickCast cut a couple days after we get this episode published on there, and those are always fun to check out. And speaking of our Facebook page and our Twitter page, you can always find us at facebook.com/KickCast, or at KickCast on Twitter, or on Google Plus at plus.kickcast.net. If you like to do the email thing, you can always email us at kickcast@ktdata.net. And of course, LaserNorm always in the chat room right there. Come join LaserNorm and talk about all these crazy projects, because some of these projects are really crazy. And you can see that at live.kickcast.net. And of course, we do this show every 2 weeks. So our next show will be August 20th, 2013. Ooh. That would be...
Wow. You know what that means for me, though? That means I'm going, like, school starts again.
Oh, man.
I have 4 months of vacation, and then it's back to the grind.
Back to the grind. So
yeah, so I'll be there for that.
That will be fun times. Drew, you got anything else to plug for the show?
Good. I'm pretty excited about the ones we talked about. I'm really happy to see the ones from 2 weeks ago that are, funding and doing well. It's fun. It's fun to see projects come to life, and look for it. I think sometime in the near future, 2 months, month or two, I may have a project of my own I'll be pushing.
Ooh. Of things to come.
Yeah, cool things.
All right, Drew, as always, I love it having you here on the show. It's always fun, and I always wonder where the time goes, because I'm like, oh.
We've been together for an hour plus.
Yeah. Thank you, LaserNorm, and everybody else who watches. Even if you don't watch live, I know you guys are out there. I love all of you. You guys are awesome. If I could go and hug all of you, I would.
You would.
Yeah.
I'd give you a slap on the back and be like, "What's up?"
Yep. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.